former President Dick Cheney is attacking President Obama again. The right is just exploding. The right-wingers are going crazy on this. Obama drives them absolutely nuts because, of course, of his approval rating still very high. They hijacked the country for 8 years, exploited 9/11, sold a phony war to us on Iraq, betrayed our Constitution and our values with torture. They really drained our bank account. Our resources are damn near gone. And now when the Democrats are in power, we can do nothing right. The President of the United States can do nothing right. So they've decided to label him weak. We elected Barack Obama. The American people rejected everything that Dick Cheney and George Bush stood for. And the policies of fear are now gone. But they always seem to rear their ugly head. That's why Obama just drives these people nuts. He's doing things right, because he's the exact opposite of what these guys stood for. Now, apparently, Mr. Cheney didn't get the message because he's out there pushing the same old fear tactics on you-know-where, the Fox network.
But what I find disturbing is the extent to which he's gone to Europe, for example, and seemed to apologize profusely in Europe, and been to Mexico and apologized there and so forth. And I think you have to be very careful. The world outside there, both our friends and our foes, will be quick to take advantage of a situation if they think they're dealing with a weak president or one who's not going to stand up and aggressively defend America's interest.
The OLC memos that were released reflected, in my view, us losing our moral bearings. That's why I've discontinued those enhanced interrogation programs. For those who carried out some of these operations within the four corners of legal opinions or guidance that had been provided from the White House, I do not think it's appropriate for them to be prosecuted. With respect to those who formulated those legal decisions, I would say that that is going to be more of a decision for the Attorney General within the parameters of various laws, and I don't want to prejudge that. I think it's very important for the American people to feel as if this is not being dealt with to provide one side or another political advantage, but rather is being done in order to learn some lessons so that we move forward.
Now that we have possibly got some prosecutions coming and some investigations, no better person to talk to than the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, my friend Senator Pat Leahy from Vermont. Pat, I got to cool down a little bit here, if I can.
I agree with the president that the lower level players who were told this is okay, this is the law, follow the law, I'm not as concerned about going after them as I am the people who knew they were misstating the law, who knew they were giving the wrong directions, who were willing to set the White House and those around the White House as being above the law. I grew up to believe in the United States of America, nobody's above the law. Not the president, not the vice president, not somebody working for them.
Senator, what do you think Dick Cheney's strategy is that once a month he comes out and takes basically cheap shots at this newly elected president inside 100 days? I mean, this guy is the most quoted and the most visible former vice president in the history of the country. What do you think his strategy is? What is he trying to accomplish?
We got hit the first time on their watch. This is the administration that on September 10th wanted to cut almost in half our counterterrorism funding on September 10th. On September 12th, they wanted to double it. I don't want to hear any lectures from Dick Cheney about keeping this nation safe.
How aggressive will the Senate now be that President Obama says the door is open? What's the next step? Is it all on the desk of the Attorney General, Mr. Holder, at this point?
Well, I think a lot of it's on the desk of Mr. Holder, but I intend to continue my investigation.
What are you going to do?
Well, for one thing, we now have many of the OLC opinions. I want to find just who directed anybody to write this kind of garbage, and we'll find that out. The Intelligence Committee is doing their own on the intelligence side. Obviously, I'd like to have a full-blown, nonpartisan commission look into the whole thing, bring it all out at once, not in a partisan hearing, but in an open hearing, sort of like we did after 9/11.
Well, that's the big question, Senator. Can you get bipartisan support? And then the president said that today. If it can be a hearing or an investigation on the Hill with bipartisan support, are there any Republicans that would go along with this, or is this going to be a partisan issue?
So far, there are no Republicans, and if we don't have Republicans go along with the commission, we're going to have to do it ourselves.
Would you? Would you do it yourself?
Oh, yes. I mean, I'll keep asking these questions. This is not going to go away. Some people said to me, turn the page. I said, I kind of like to read the page before I turn it.
Now, what about Judge Bybee? You said today in a release that you think that he should resign. How adamant are you about that?
Let's understand, with Judge Bybee, if the Bush-Cheney administration told the truth about him, and he told the truth about what he did, he never would have been confirmed by the Senate. He never would have become a judge.
Speaking of keeping us safe, make no mistake here, no question about it. I want this on the record. Here's what our president said today about protecting America.
I wake up every day thinking about how to keep the American people safe. And I go to bed every night worrying about keeping the American people safe. But the thing that I consider my most profound obligation is keeping the American people safe.
What else do you want, Americans? What, does Barack Obama have to get down on his knees every day and bow to the American people? What is it going to take to convince the conservatives that this man loves the country, he's been elected, he's got a high approval rating, and we are behind him? Here's what bothers me as an American, and I don't want to get angry about this or anything, but I think Americans are on their edge right now when it comes to Dick Cheney. About once a month, this guy steps up and starts browbeating the President of the United States because they lost the election. That's what it comes down to. I think that Dick Cheney wants this country to get hit again for political gain. I believe that he thinks in his mind, if we can make them think, the enemy, that we're weak because Obama can't stand up for us, we're going to get hit, and then, of course, we can paint the picture that the Democrats just can't get the job done on national security. I think Cheney is that mean. I also think that we need to remind Americans, we got hit on his watch. He had access to the presidential daily briefing on August 6, 2001. And Mr. Cheney, you didn't do anything about it. We got hit on your watch. In the briefings back then, the counter-terrorist intelligence people in our government were trying to work with you, and you ignored them. Now, Hannity, that must have really been a tough interview for you, huh? A couple of softballs thrown up there. But now we're getting into the devil in the detail because there is a big development today. The President of the United States says that he is going to leave the door open to possible prosecution of the Bush administration officials who devised harsh terrorism-era interrogation tactics. What does this mean? This means that Dick Cheney could get prosecuted. This means that we might have to drag this country through all of this, and you know what the media is going to be focusing on. This is what they left us. This is the mop-up job that has to be done by this president and this administration. The guy's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's diplomatically trying to reach out. We've got more troops in Afghanistan. He's fighting terrorism. He's trying to work on the economy. He's trying to create jobs. We're trying to go energy independent. The list goes on. And you know what the conservatives are doing? They're trying to put him up against the wall, put his back to the wall, claiming that he can't keep the country safe. Is this the best thing the conservative movement can come up with?